We are awakening together. This is our weekly gathering we hold online. For more information, visit our website, awakening-together.org. We'd love to see you there.
Great. Thank you, Marisol. And I want to see everybody here. There's everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Awakening Together Sanctuary. Thank you, Marisol, for that gorgeous music. It's just perfect. Just opened my heart and got me ready to be with you all. So appreciate that and appreciate everybody being here today. And today I'm going to be talking about a recent experience that I had that was really one of the most extended and difficult times that I've had on the spiritual path. Not sure I'm to the end of that journey exactly, but I do want to share kind of what happened and what I noticed, what insights I had, and some of the things that were helpful along the way. And hopefully I'll say something that somebody else needs to hear this morning. So at this time, I'd like to invite everyone to greet each other. And I want to ask Marisol to please play our song, We Are Awakening. Beautiful. Thank you. Can't hear that song enough times. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to read our Awakening Together statement of purpose. We are an assembly of equals, joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. And I would like also to highlight our core value 3, which I believe pertains most strongly what I'd like to speak to today. We accept one true self, which is one presence or being, non-dual, without beginning or end, and absolutely changeless. We live this value by practicing letting go of the belief in the individual self as who we are. All right. So then we'd like to have some announcements. You, Ann? Wow, exciting stuff coming up. Okay. Boy, I kind of just want to do that, but okay, well, let's do one thing at a time. Okay. So I wanted to have a song, and I chose this because as I was having a lot of fear come up, the first clarity that I could hear was this song, and it kind of got to be a little bit of an earworm popping up all the time, like, you know, that song that you just can't get out of your head. And so super grateful. And I know that at this time, a lot of the world is in a lot of fear. And so I thought it might be helpful to listen to this song together to, yeah, it's a good one to get stuck in your head. Maybe we could just sit together, sink into our hearts, and listen to this gorgeous song by India Arie. Marisol, will you please play the song? Please join me in prayer. Holy Spirit, thank you for bringing us together today so we can focus on your teaching about how we awaken to what we are in truth. Let the words shared here today be from wisdom, and may we hear what is most helpful to each one of us Let us keep our intention, our true desire of our heart, stay in the forefront. Although we experience dark times, thank you for riding out into the dark to remind us of your love and for meeting us where we are. Maybe with a seemingly random song lyric or a familiar saying, whatever it is always exactly the perfect thing to help us turn back to the light of our own being. Thank you for being here whenever we are ready to hear your voice. And even when we do not feel your love, you're always here to guide us, using everything, even apparent darkness. I offer this with deep gratitude and humility. Amen. I have asked my friend Joanne to do our reading today, and I've selected 3 selections from NTI, and I'll just ask Joanne to please start the reading. Thank you, Joanne, for agreeing to do that.
Thank you, Melody. Good day, everyone. I'll start my first reading. It's Corinthians 2, chapter 11. I ask you to rest the mind. There is an important reason for this request. When you look at the world, you are looking at the thought of confusion. That is quite literally what the reflection of the world is. It is the thought that fantasy has become reality, and that is the thought of confusion. When you look at the world, you look at the thought of confusion. And so it is thoughts of confusion that come into your mind as you look. You hear these thoughts and you believe them because confusion has influence over you. I ask you to rest the mind. Resting is the realization that confusion rules the world. And it is also the decision not to be ruled by confusion anymore. In resting the mind from thoughts of confusion, you let them float away unbelieved. Then thoughts of wisdom may be given. Thoughts of wisdom come from you, not confusion. Thoughts of wisdom spring forth from me, which is the true desire of the heart. Do not be confused. The world is confusion, and thoughts of the world are thoughts of confusion. Thoughts of confusion are not your truth, so thoughts of confusion are not the thoughts you want to attempt to share. The mind is tricky because the mind is split. On your own, you cannot trust the thoughts of the mind. Thoughts of the mind may seem righteous when they are but confusion. To listen to the mind without testing it is to risk listening to confusion as if it makes sense. The test for the mind is purpose, and purpose is the true desire of the heart. Because the heart is not at the surface of the mind must rest to be tested by the heart. But the test is not difficult. The rest need not be long. It only takes a moment to remember your purpose and only an instant to make the mind subordinate to the heart. Do not fear that you do not know confusion and do not know the purpose of the heart. You do know. It is written within you by the nature of your truth. Seek only for a moment to test your thoughts by the true desire of the heart, and the light of the heart shall shine, that you may see your thoughts truly. You cannot be confused within the light of the heart, for the light of the heart is your memory of truth, and your memory of truth knows not of confusion, so confusion must disappear in its light. Free yourself from encirclement within the world. Free yourself from its confusion. Quiet your mind and ask the heart within. From the depth of your heart, your freedom is known. And our second reading is James chapter 1, the Holy Spirit's interpretation of James. Greetings, my beloved. Trust is your bedrock. I ask you to hold trust in all things. Trust the healing process, for it brings to you that which is best for your healing. Trust it and accept it in joy. Trust your own mind, for it does know the true desire of your heart, and it will rest, that your true desire may be practiced. Trust yourself, for it is one, and its true purpose is only one. There is no division within yourself. There is only the illusion of division, and illusion is nothing at all. Trust is the bedrock of your faith. For what you trust in, you also put your faith in. Trust and faith are inseparable. Do not look at your false self and the circumstances of the world, putting faith and trust, which may seem like fear, in those circumstances. To do this is to put faith in illusion. With faith placed in illusion, illusion is what you shall see and experience. This is not the experience of your joy, because this is not what you truly want. Put faith in your truth by trusting your true desire. Listen within with true desire as your focus. In this way, you shall know what to do. Put all of your trust in what you hear, and your faith is given back to yourself. Blessed is the man who perseveres under trial, means blessed are you who remember to use all things to practice the true desire of the heart. For with practice and focus, your true desire stands clear within your sight until the naturalness of your being is as natural in your awareness as true desire is now in the quiet of your heart. God is the truth within you. It does not tempt. God is. But God can be denied through your desire to do so. Do not be unaware of this desire. It is there within your mind, but it is a false desire that lingers from a moment of the past. In your weariness, you follow it in habit, but in your alertness, you remember to place this worn-out desire aside. Do not deny your truth, because it does not change. In your denial, you misunderstand what you do, and you experience your misunderstanding in unhappiness. My dear brothers, take note of this and store it in your mind and heart. Be quick to listen to the true desire of the heart, and you are quick to realize the joy of your truth. Your truth is joy. So whenever you are not joyful, you are misunderstanding what you are. Do not merely listen to my words without practicing what I say. To listen but not to practice is to be like a man who looks in the mirror but then goes away and forgets what he saw. Remember that which you see as you listen to me. Practice it with your every breath, and do remember the truth of what you are. Know thyself. This is your only purpose. Hold tight to your purpose. Let go of everything that is not of this purpose. And to your purpose, you are true. Okay, I'm going to go to our third reading. And this is John 1, chapter 2. My dear child, look within and see that you have not sinned. Look within and see that you have taken the sins of the world upon your breast and held them there. And then realize what Jesus did. He released the sins of the world as illusion, accepted the face of Christ, and returned himself to the awareness of God. We know that we have come to know Christ as we practice the teachings of Christ. The teachings of Christ are these. I am Christ. I am all that is perfect, and all that is perfect is in me. I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. All that I am not is illusion, and I am all that I am. It is true that this is not a new command, for this is what has always been true. The darkness is passing, and the true light has always been shining. Let the darkness pass, and do not allow sorrow to come over you. The darkness must pass in order for you to see the light, and you must see the light in order to embrace it. How shall you know if you stand within the light or stumble within the dark? There is one simple test, and this simple test shall never fail. Ask yourself honestly how you feel about your brother. If there is one brother whom you do not truly love, you are lost within darkness. Rest yourself and let the darkness pass. For beyond the darkness of illusion, there lives only the light of truth. Do not reach for the darkness, and it will pass. When the light streams through and reaches for you, embrace it. Have faith in yourself. When the feelings of darkness are upon you and you feel the burden and pain of guilt, have faith in yourself. You are the light that lives beyond the darkness. Do not be fooled by the illusion of pain. In resting, you are healing yourself, and a great dawning is about to occur. Trust yourself and trust the healing process which you have chosen. Do not love the world or value anything of the world. When you are distracted by the world, you forget to focus on your healing. In your forgetfulness, the dark clouds of illusion are not let go. How can they be let go when the Son of God has decided to place his desire with illusion? Illusion can be recognized in your heart by the priorities you place on all that you see. If anything in the world has more priority than another thing, you are desiring within the world, and you have asked to experience illusion. If all things within the world have the same priority, and only your relationship with me stands apart in your mind, you are letting go of illusion, and the clouds of darkness are passing. What you have heard from the beginning remains in you, and it shall always be with you, even through your illusion. For that which you heard was love, and it remains, as always, the calling of your heart. You are led astray only by your false desires, that you always follow yourself. When you have gone into the darkness and seem to be away from love, remember that love is always there. Stand quietly, desiring only love, and let love become in you. Stand quietly and rest in faith and trust that darkness may pass and light may become in you. Have faith in the light and hold only unto the light. It is by holding only to light that light is all you shall see. Thank you. That concludes the reading.
Thank you, Joanne. It's just beautiful, just gorgeous. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so it seems like I'm talking about these ego storms an awful lot. And, you know, in this moment, I can honestly say I am very grateful for those. When it's happening, I can't find that gratitude, but I have it now. And, you know, on the spiritual path, you know, what I want to do is just, you know, be in the open heart and sit in this seat of consciousness, you know, within the heart of God. And however, sometimes I just feel like I'm sitting in hell. And, that's the path. And the point is not always, or actually the point is not to feel better in this life. And so we benefit from accepting that Holy Spirit is going to use everything and have trust in that, right? So I just wanted to, there's a quote from A Course in Miracles in the chapter, The Two Evaluations. It says, the ego is therefore capable of something at best, but viciousness at worst. When we realize this, then the ego storm is used for our healing. Suspiciousness at best. Thank you, Regina. I wish I could read my own writing. I'm wanting that to be different. So there are times when the ego becomes vicious. And what the comforting thought behind that is that the ego becomes vicious when it becomes less confident because we have trust in something else. And so that's the good thing about it. But so here's what happened. So as probably everyone in the world probably knows by now, I retired the end of 2024. And so I'm now retired. And so going into retirement, I felt pretty well prepared for that to happen. I had a really good plan. I had done a lot of contemplation. And I felt like I was going into it well prepared. And who knows, maybe I was. But then fear thoughts started coming up and I was not really catching them. What I was doing was rearranging my furniture in my house and organizing notebooks. And, when I was a kid, when I had a test and I was supposed to be studying, I always had to clean my room. Like, oh, my room is dirty. I have to clean my room. Like, that's what I was doing, I was being given very strong guidance to slow down. And another song at this time, I was hearing this song, and it's from Brother Sun, Sister Moon, do few things, but do them well. That's what I was hearing. Slow down, slow down. And from Holy Spirit, I heard, be intentional and present in the moment, focused, conscious, deliberate in asking and stepping back. Striving only feeds the story. See that devotion is the opposite of striving. It is a call to beloved. So I was given that beautiful guidance, and then I started filling up my calendar about things to do, because this is the first time in my life, literally, like since I was probably 10 years old, since I haven't had work to do, I haven't had somewhere to be, I haven't had anything that anyone was expecting from me, really. And that was really, really scary. So it just seemed like I was kind of defending myself against the stillness so that I really didn't have to sit in that. And I heard, slow down, take things step by step, right? And that was pretty scary. Then the second weekend in January, I attended the Resolving for Truth retreat, which was absolutely phenomenal. And I walked from there having a beautiful spiritual aspiration given to me by our Holy Spirit to abide as devotion to beloved. And that opens my heart just to speak it right now. And I had a great action plan I had identified obstacles, 5 obstacles that I was going to address, and a plan of what to do. I committed to saying a prayer every morning as soon as I woke up and every evening before I went to sleep, that that I would see those obstacles, and that was very heartfelt. And I did that for a few days. And then I started hearing thoughts like, you can't do this. You're not capable of doing this. This is not the way you roll. This isn't your personality. You can't do this. You can't track all this stuff. You can't follow this plan because this is not you. You know, your mind just isn't, this is not how you're wired. That's what I heard. And then I heard, you're failing at this. You really are not good at this. And in fact, you know what? You aren't devoted at all. And that's showing now. That is really showing. And I felt such a huge sense of failure, shame, unworthiness. And I was letting down not just myself, not just the Sangha, not just the world. I was letting beloved down. And I just had this huge ego storm. All I could do is sit and watch TV and play games on my phone. That's all I could do. I was managing to live up to the few commitments I had, but it was everything I had in me to do that. I was not able to go to teachings that I knew, you know, a lot of times when I get confused, and that's what this was, right? Ultimately, it was confusion. I was just listening to the wrong mind. I was confused. But I couldn't see that. And usually I can just pick up, you know, NTI or ACIM. I just open it up and there'll be something, it's, you know, it'll be there, whatever I need. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't go to my my action plan for my spiritual aspiration. I thought I was going to throw up. I thought I would die. If I just looked at any of it, I wasn't able to. I just wasn't able to. So, but then I started hearing, just really faintly at first, I heard something say, just watch them. And what that meant was, just watch your thoughts. And all of a sudden, there was a shift. As I heard that come in, there was a shift. And I was able to shift from being the thought, being the one thinking, believing those thoughts, to the one watching the thoughts. And that I see as like the slit in the script, like that was the moment when I had a choice, right? That's the moment when that little bit of light came through the crack. So I noticed that even while I was so scared, there was something here that really didn't believe it. Like there was something here that still was saying, yeah, that's not really true. Like, we'll let that go, but that's not really true. So then I started hearing other things. Like one that came up was, you have to feel it to heal it. Okay, so I was like, oh, okay. So I'm watching the thoughts. Of course, the emotions still come up. The fear still comes up. Watching the thoughts doesn't protect you from any of that. So the feeling comes up. Okay, I have to feel it. But it helped keep perspective on what that was. Like, that's an energy that's moving through because of this old habitual thought that is causing this feeling in this body mind. And if I can just let it move through, just ride the wave of it, it can come up for healing, right? So I began to see that. I began to practice that, to just let it come up. And then I heard my dear and darling Anne Blanchard's voice say, well, which column is that? Is it ego or is that wisdom, right? And that was so super helpful, to just be able to, okay, there's the thought. Which column is it? Is it ego or is it wisdom? It's like, well, it sure as heck isn't wisdom. I know that for sure. So the only thing left is ego, right? And that was just so clear and simple, such a simple, profound teaching. And then what started coming in was, I do not know what anything is for. And that like sealed the deal. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't have any idea what's going on here. I don't know what devotion is. I don't know what it looks like. And you know what I suspect is that sometimes devotion feels like sitting in the very heart of God. And sometimes devotion feels like sitting in hell and just being willing to sit there with it. And so that was huge. I also heard rest, accept, and trust. Now, this is a practice that I've used so many times, so many times, so many times. And what I saw was these old teachings that I've used, that I've consistently practiced, that I have experience with, I've come to trust. And they've started to wear their own neural pathways, right? So that's the new conditioning. So I can so easily then access those. Now, I couldn't go to new teachings. I wasn't ready for that. I just wasn't able to. But these teachings that I've practiced consistently were coming up. They were coming back to me, and I trusted them because I seen them work. I've done them. I absolutely knew that if I stayed back and watched the thoughts, that would be better, right? I absolutely knew that if I let a feeling come up, it will come up for healing, but I have to allow it, right? I just have to let it happen. I have to let it do its work. And rest, accept, and trust is one that I've used so many times for really big ego storms, and then for small upsets that I was not able to get through that confusion. You know, it's just resting. And what I saw about resting was I really could feel how rest is a form of surrender, just giving it up, you know, not participating in the confusion, not feeding it, just allowing it. I could see that rest looks different depending on kind of my level of consciousness in that moment. And sometimes just being willing to be present is all I can really muster, but it is something. And it's surely better than listening to all the thoughts and going on that wild ride, right? And I came to see rest as kind of a superpower. Like it's transcendent, right? If you're resting, you just can't be in that. You can't be believing it because you're resting from it. And it really allowed me to really be there in the moment, you know. And then so this went on for like 3 weeks straight, this whole process. It was, and mine kept saying, well, this isn't an ego storm, honey. Ego storms are a day or two, maybe an hour, not 3 weeks, honey, right? This is not an ego storm. This is you. You can't do this, right? And I just kept sitting back, resting. Which column does that go in, right? So meanwhile, of course, supports came up that were super helpful. So we started our Gentle Healing 1 group that we do on Friday mornings. So the work that I had to do, I was committed to do it. So I was doing it preparing for that, and then being in the group and hearing truth and hearing spiritual insights, growth, hearing gratitude was so super helpful. And then I'm finishing up Gentle Healing 3, just being with that, being with, looking at the quotes, sitting with the group, hearing the contemplations. Even if I couldn't contemplate on my own, I was hearing other people's. And then the mentoring Sangha. And, it happened that I didn't meet with my mentoring Sangha group during this time, interestingly. But, we have a chat that we do. And so what I could do was I put in our chat, I said, I'm having this huge ego storm. I just need to tell someone that. I need you to hear it. Please hold space. I am going to do this right now. I'm taking care of myself, but just asking you to hold space. And I got my 2 little hearts from the Sangha members. And it was like, just there's something about sharing that, right? Just speaking it into this loving space that is somehow magical, and that helps. I did go to Regina's teaching on rest, accept, and trust, which I've heard, I don't know, many, 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 many times. That teaching is gold for this one. So I went back to that. I was able to listen to that again. I went back to Regina's homily called When the Mind Goes Crazy, because I remembered that. Regina just not too long ago talked about this, and I was able to go back and listen to that again, which was super helpful. And then everything else that happened in life, right? So, the whole universe conspires, right? So everything that happened, I just found, oh, wow, this is coming to help me. And then the gratitude started to build as I saw, wow, everything is coming to support me and get me through this and help me learn. So here are some of the things that I took away from this so far. So every time that I can use this process, that I can allow that initial light to enter my mind, every time that I can sit back, watch the thoughts, every time I can rest, accept, and trust, every time that I can use these tools, every time that I can see the thoughts and allow the energy to arrive without believing attention, I trust that process more. And those neural pathways are developed, and they're easier and easier to access and come as a natural process. It's the new programming. So when I see that it's the voice of the ego, I can intentionally choose a different interpretation or choose the other evaluation of who I am. The importance of consistent practice, because that was a question in my mind. Why do I have to have discipline? And I talked about this, I think, at my last homily, and this really showed me, right? And the things that I had practiced consistently, those are the ones that came in when I needed them. They were there. So that is why I must, if I want my spiritual aspiration, if I want to abide as devotion to beloved, then that's what's asked of me, right? I need the reprogramming. I cannot rely on this old programming that's telling me the opposite of what's true, because that kind of makes sense. It's taking a while for me to see that. Maybe one of the most important things that I saw was I got exactly what I asked for. And early on, I mentioned I had this prayer that I would see these obstacles. And Anne Blanchard pointed out to me, well, guess what? You've been shown. You've been shown repeatedly all the obstacles that you identified. So truly, prayer works, and not always in the way we expect, right? So, so I'm thankful for that. And it re-energized my gratitude for being in the not knowing, and more comfortable in the not knowing. Almost I mean, just not almost, a huge relief to say, I just don't know, and just give it over. Let the mind give up trying to figure it out. And I found that really what it came down to, the biggest obstacle is the believing of the thought in the first place, and thinking they're correct and that they're mine. And it feels like I'm trying to figure something out. I'm trying to remember these facts that I take to be truth. And if I didn't believe the thoughts in the first place, those 5 obstacles would never come up. One of the obstacles, for instance, is self-judgment. Well, self-judgment starts with believing a thought, period. I mean, that's the birth of it, right? That thought, and I buy it. Resistance to practice is an obstacle. Starts with a thought. I don't want to. I don't really feel that right now, right? That's a thought. So the antidote to that is trusting the process until the knowing of truth is my experience. And every time we turn within, that habit deepens. And it's all about, where am I putting my trust? And wherever that is, that's my prayer. That's the prayer that gets answered. So, whew. So I have a song that I'm going to ask Marisol to play in a second. And I thought this was such an interesting song. But it's, I always have to get a cartoon in somewhere for some reason. I guess that speaks to my maturity on some level. But this is a cartoon, so good. But it's about, it's called Here Comes a Thought. And it's just like the sitting back in the seat of wisdom and getting ready for it, right? Here it comes. What am I gonna do, right? Am I gonna run after it and believe it, or am I gonna let it pass by? So before we play the song, I'd love to ask everyone to look within their hearts and see if it is for you to donate to Awakening Together today. And Marisol has placed the link in the chat. If you're not in the sanctuary, you can go to our website, awakening-together.org, and go to the donate button. And Marisol, will you please play the next song? Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody. I just love that song. I think that's so sweet. So at this time, I would love to invite anyone who has anything that they would like to share to please raise your electronic hand. Regina. Hi, Regina. Good to see you.
Hi, Melody. Gosh, you put a smile on my face early in the homily, and then it just didn't go away. It's so funny that your description of the darkness put a smile on my face. But it did, because I recognized it so clearly, because I've been there, and the way you went through it was perfect. I know the ego was telling you that it wasn't, but it was absolutely perfect. I mean, a giant, giant, giant gold star. It's a perfect example of how to do this. One of the things that you brought out very clearly that's so important were those little bitty thoughts that were able to get in, and you grabbed them. I mean, that's what's so important, right? The little bitty right-minded thoughts I'm referring to, because I know the ego thoughts were very loud, very big. And then this little bitty right-minded thought would come in and you would grab it. And that's, again, it's absolute perfection. And let's see, I had put in a quote that I really severely made a mistake with. And Erica put in the correct quote, which is the quote I was thinking of. I'm sure it's from the Bible. It's Luke 16:10. That's Jesus speaking. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. The way that quote has always worked for me is that, I practice these things like acceptance and rest, accept, and trust, and noticing that's just a thought. I practice all of that when, it's like this. But because I practice that when it's like this, when it gets like this, those things come back, right? I practice it when the ego is suspicious, when it's little. And then when the ego gets vicious, they come back. And they're there to save me, to help me through. If I didn't practice it in the gentler times, I don't know that it would be able to break through in the tougher times, right? So, you just demonstrated that so perfectly. Also, the song was brilliant. And I think we put in a request for the link, and I think maybe is that Here Comes a Thought. Yeah, I think Marisol has given us the link, so that's wonderful. Thank you. But I'm just so grateful that you came here and so clearly told us what you went through, because that's going to help somebody else. We need to share this, because when that comes down, how deep it is, how dark it is, what the ego is saying. And someday, you said you remembered Anne saying, you remembered someday somebody's going to remember Melody saying, and that's going to be their lifeline during the ego storm. So thank you so much for not only for your perfect description of what it felt like and what saved you. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. I appreciate that. Livy, thank you. Welcome.
Hi, good morning. Oh, Melody, I so needed to hear what you shared this morning. I too am retired, and it's the first time in my life that I don't have someone to care for. It's just me, and boy, my ego is shitting all over me. You should be doing this and you should be doing that. And just the voices that, the messages that you're allowing to come through, I could really identify with as well. And because some of my messages are, you're not smart enough to do this, and, things like that come through. And it just really, thank you for guiding me how you walk through those messages and what you do. And I just found it extraordinarily helpful. And I just wanted to thank you so much for sharing that with us today. So thank you. I'll definitely come back and listen again and take notes. So thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Livy. I'm so grateful if it's helpful. Tina.
I want to thank you for my card so I love practice. I'm a solution-oriented girl, so I love this, right? I get to write down exactly, you told me what I loved watching. I love hearing the problem, and then here's the solution. And what I heard you clearly say is a good practice is to, I hope I get this right. If I don't, please correct me, because I carry these little cards with me, but allow what is happening, watch thoughts about it, whatever it is, and then rest, accept, and trust with it all, thoughts, beliefs, judgments, action, whatever is going on, and allow it to just move through. So when you said that, I just wanted to say this is going in my little folder, and thank you for the solution.
Well, thank you,
Appreciate it.
Tina. Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have anything to share? If not, we have another song. And really this song is really just for fun. And it's a song I think I might have played here before, but it just really came to me to play it today. It's called I Saw God by Victor Wooten, and featuring James Twyman. So Marisol, would you mind playing the final song? Thank you, everybody. I love that song, and to me, it just speaks to this Sangha and how we see God through each other. And I want to thank, and yes, and Joe pointed out, James Twyman will be our satsang guest in February. And that's part of the reason why it came to me to play that, because I was thinking of James Twyman. So just want to thank everybody from my very wide open heart for all of you. I love you all so much and so appreciate you being here. Don't please, and everyone, please stay if you feel to for our fellowship time as well. So have a great week. Mwah.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.